The Who and How Club is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. Now, therapy has helped me throughout the years, as you all know. I've shared on my platforms, and I call it my journey to therapy. I've gone really in depth, and I still have pieces of my journey to share before I continue my journey to therapy. I took a little break. I had a couple therapists, and I learned some things. I wanted to put things to practice, and it has really helped me grow as an individual, whether it's in the love department, family department, self-reflection, self-reflective, introspective department. My experience and my journey to therapy really helped me grow as an individual, and I would encourage it to anyone who is looking to, find a different outlet to express themselves and deal with things that they've gone through in their lives in the healthiest way possible. As you all know, with the work that I do, I'm in the mental health space. I'm in the mental health field, and mental well-being is truly important to me. So how can I be in that field if I don't deal with my own mental health and my mental well-being, right? So those were one of the reasons why I got into therapy and decided to face a fear. Now, you can face your fear as well, just like me. If you go to their website, betterhelp.com/whohow, you can actually locate that link in the description of today's episode. And what you'll do when you click on that link, you will answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will then match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles and challenges just like yours and just like mine. You can actually do it from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging. However you feel most comfortable, it's really the easiest possible way to start speaking with a therapist. You'll be matched to a therapist usually within 48 hours. So you can get started pretty fast. So not like the old school way where you have to go to an office and sit across someone, maybe even lie on a sofa and express yourself. And it can be a bit awkward. In this day and age that we're in, you actually have a multitude of options when speaking with the therapist, and it's really to fit your lifestyle and what you're most comfortable with. So let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Once again, visit betterhelp.com/whohow and get a discount on your first month of therapy. Today, you'll actually get 10% off once you click the link directly in our description today in today's episode. All right. So join me on this journey, and I hope you benefit and face your fear just like I have. Now let's get to today's episode. Hey, what's going on, folks? It's your boy Arys Déjan checking in. You know the slogan. You are the Who and How Club. I am the Who and How Club, and we are the Who's and How's of this world. Without you, without me, there is no we. And while we're here today, why don't we just connect? This week's a bit weird. I started this week off with getting some news from a work colleague, or about a work colleague who actually tragically passed away. And we're literally starting this week off with this type of energy. But what we try to do is not internalize this experience. Because at the end of the day, this individual who passed, they have their own family, they have their children, they have their own, circle of friends. This was someone that I just knew in passing through work. But I could tell that their passing really affect other individuals that I work with because, they had even deeper connections with this individual, more experiences, vast experiences. They spoke with this person, they collaborated with this person more than I did. So what I became for the individuals who were experiencing this passing was I was being a support system to them. And, when people are coming at you and, wanting to express themselves, their hardships, it can become a bit draining if you internalize everything. What you want to do is try to empathize, of course, but understand that it's your experience, but not directly. It's sort of like an indirect. It's by default or by association. Someone has passed and, people are hurt by that because a person was here one moment and now they are not. And it takes a lot for a person to digest that. So we can only know what their family and their closest friends are really going through. We're just work colleagues, We've collaborated, of course, and it means something to us. But, This person had even more deeper people and deeper connections that were closer to them, and they truly suffered and experienced a real loss. Now, that has opened my brain a bit this week because I want us to focus on really connecting with one another and showing each other love while we still can. A little piece that sort of opened my brain in this experience or this situation this week is that I'm getting a bit tongue-tied, so bear with me. But life is. I never understood the saying that life is short. I do believe life is long, but for some, maybe it's short. For some, their journeys end even sooner than myself or the average person. Who knows? Maybe it's my time tomorrow. No one ever knows when it's your time to go. But every day that you wake up, when you go to rest at night and you wake up, you realize that, I have another chance. I have another opportunity to wake up today and be myself, or be different, even to change, to adjust, and to also tell the people who are important to you or myself that we love them, that we care for them, because we're here still together. We are still here. And I want you all to take this moment to just remind yourselves of that you woke up this morning. Someone didn't. And the fact that you woke up should inspire you to want to become a greater individual, a greater being, to do better, to try again, to not give up, but to also spread love and to be kind, because it doesn't cost much to be kind. And I know it's so corny to say, but it's the truth. If you love someone, if you appreciate someone, if someone has done something for you that helped you, helped you make it through or break through something, supported you in any way, or someone who checks in on you, whatever it may be, just show them your appreciation while you can, because you never know. You may not get the chance to do that at the blink of an eye. And that's the last thing any of us want. So to that individual who passed away this week, though our paths crossed, though I didn't know you too well, but I still consider you a work colleague, and I took your guidance, and I saw how much you supported people. I do wish you well, and I hope you're in a better place. And to your family, I wish them well as well, because I know they're going through it at this moment. Because of your passing, I will choose, in your honor, to continue to try to live and do better on my part. Because the last thing I would want is one of my loved ones to just be gone at the blink of an eye. And in these moments, we should open our third eye and realize what life is really trying to tell us and show us. Sometimes we're so busy with the 9 to 5 back and forth, up and down, the dramas, the lacks, the insecurities, that we don't realize what the universe and what life is really trying to show us in front of us. We experience things for a reason. It's up to us to really realize it and open our eyes to it. Don't internalize everything. Don't make it about you, but understand that there's a message within that situation or that experience or that, whether it's directly or indirectly or by association. You can learn something from everything. And that's what the Who and How Club represents. It's about learning from one another, understanding, being aware of other people's experiences so you can learn from them and learn for yourself as well. Nothing is a loss. It's a lesson. You have to learn. And until you learn, you'll continue to experience the same thing over and over and over again. So we got to grow. With that said, today's episode, the hiatus is over, as you all know. We're back in full effect, baby. Boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, club members alike, we are back. And, for those who are listening in and tuning in for the first time, I want you all to understand what our sort of process or routine is here at the club. So, last week's episode was a solo episode. It was me speaking with the club members and all the listeners and supporters. I call those the solo episodes. Those are episodes where it's just me, myself, and I, and you, of course, but I don't see you. You're not speaking back to me unless you're in the car right now and you're listening to what I'm saying. You're snapping your fingers like, yes, something deep. Or you're like, you know what, Arys, I don't agree with that. Maybe you're like me, you speak out loud. Okay, that's fine. But either way, I'm on this episode by myself, solo dolo, right? You're the listener, you're the supporter, you're the club member listening in. Now, after those solo episodes or a solo episode comes out, the week after that, we release a guest episode. Now, a guest episode is when I sit down and have guests come onto the platform, and those can be guests from all walks of life. They could be your average person, or they could be fellow creators, people from the field. It doesn't matter. We talk about it all on this platform. Now, we got the solo episode out the way. We got the guest episodes. Now, the third episode in week 3, this is our routine, our sort of our rotation, so to speak. I call them guest spot episodes. So these episodes that I share are actual shows and platforms that I've made an appearance on as a guest, so that you, the listener, the supporter, the club member, can get to know me in a different format. Not just me speaking with you, not just me interviewing people, but also them interviewing me and speaking with me and picking my brain, because I want all of you to get to know me on different levels, not just on this level that I've presented to you, that I reel you in for. Other people in audiences have reeled me in into their spaces and into their environments, and they want to ask me things. They want to pick my brain. They want to know the challenges that I've gone through. They want to know my perspectives on life. So that's sort of like our three-week rotation here at the club. All right. So last week was a solo. So what does that mean that we're on today? Say it out loud. If you're in your car listening to the show on your way to work, what's week 2? That's right, a guest episode. So I have a lovely, 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 lovely conversation coming to you right now. It's nothing crazy, but it is something that I've had in my pocket. Now, if you look through the list of episodes, you will see that last year I released a couple episodes, a part 1 and part 2. Our latest part 1, part 2 episodes were from this event that I attended at FanExpo. So we released FanExpo 1 and FanExpo 2. I still had FanExpo Part 3 in the tuck, and I wanted to save it because I spoke with fellow creators that are really first of all, last week I mentioned that I made an appearance at PodCamp 2024. I mentioned Jennifer, Lily, and John. Now, these folks support the platform often, and without them, I wouldn't be present at these events. So I took it upon myself to have a touch base with John and pick his brain on what it's like, spearheading PodCamp every year, spearheading the Canadian Podcast Awards, and putting some events together and bringing people together. So that's one conversation that I had. And then you're also going to hear my conversation with Michael from the Sonar Podcast Network. He and I cross paths often at these events, especially when they're curated by the Canadian Podcast Awards. And it's just cool to be in the space with fellow creators and fellow leaders within the podcast realm. I really look up to these individuals, and I love picking their brains when I'm around them. So I want to share it all with you. So I know we're in the new year. Part 1, Part 2 came out in 2023. But now that you're having Part 3 today in 2024, you'll be able to go back and listen to Part 1, Part 2, and then listen to Part 3 in its entirety. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the patience on Part 3, because I know in those episodes I mentioned Part 3 was actually coming out. There have been a few barriers, a few challenges over the past few months, and we're going to be sharing that in the upcoming episodes. I promise I won't leave you all guessing. But once again, thank you, John, for always supporting the platform. I'm actually going to post some clips that I have of you and I at the last event a few weeks back. And I'm excited to see you, Lily, and Jennifer very soon. Actually, this upcoming week, I'm going to be at Comicon. Thanks to you guys once again. And of course, I'm going to potentially interview some folks. So you'll see the link to the schedule for this week's Comicon in the description below. And I hope to see you all at Comicon this week. Go on my social media at Who How Club, and you'll see the posts for this week's schedule and our appearance happening at Comicon, thanks to the Canadian Podcast Awards and PodCamp once again. All right. This episode being released today is relevant to what I have going on in life. See, everything comes full circle from the last episode to now. You are all on this journey with me and on this continuous journey with me if you've continued to listen to this podcast from day one. But if you're a new listener and a new club member, welcome to the club. Enjoy today's episode. And I'll speak with you all in a week. All right? 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Who and How Club. We are checking in once again. We're at FanExpo, Canada, here in the city, beautiful city of Toronto. We're on the final day of the event, and so far so good. It's been pretty quiet. I think that's how it usually is on the final day of an expo such as this one. But I wanted to check in with all of you, all of the club members, all of the listeners and supporters, because I have a quick special guest, a brother from another, to my left with me today, and he's going to speak about what he has going on right now with his creation, his network, his platform, and we're going to have a dope conversation. So introduce yourself to the people, sir.
Hey, I'm Michael Monjardi. I am the, co-founder of the Sonar Podcast Network. It's a podcast network here in Toronto, Canada. Focus kind of on the comedy scene here and the art scene in Toronto, but we have shows, all kinds of variety of shows for listeners that want to check out something new. So yeah, thesonarnetwork.com.
And let's get some hand claps for my brother here. This is literally...
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the platform. This is literally the third time I'm seeing him for the year, so that's a new record. Last time our paths crossed was at Comicon, and then prior to that you were speaking at PodCamp, which I've been an attendee at and a presenter at as well. So it's really great to see you again.
Good to see you too. I love to run into you with these things.
Of course, yeah. How have things been going for Sonar these past few days here at FanExpo?
Great. I mean, we're just here on the floor. We, spreading the good word, talking to the people, telling them about what we're doing, and we're doing like 20 different shows here throughout the weekend. Live podcasts, comedy shows, stuff like that to just entertain people. It's all just free shows. If you're here, then come see our stuff.
I always wonder, especially with you guys being a network and you being at stuff like this, do you ever get like on the spot pitches for shows and stuff like that? Do people like introduce themselves with that to you?
Yeah, I get that here. I get that on my email all the time, pitches all the time. Which is great. I love to talk to people, even if it's not a good fit for our network. We're happy to talk to creators and help guide them and maybe, help them to get a good start and get their show off the ground. And so
for people who may not know, not just for your platform, but just a podcast network in general, like how would you explain that to someone in layman's terms if people didn't know what a network was and what a network does?
Yeah, sorry, that's a good question. And this does come up a lot, but it's kind of, think of it like a television network or whatever, where it's like, you're a fan of the shows, but there's kind of a little home for all of them. What we basically do is we support our shows, we help promote them, try to get some PR, try to help grow the shows through our resources. But mostly what we do is try to monetize the shows, try to get creators paid for their work.
Yes.
Creators work hard, and there is like this kind of trend or school of thought that like if you put advertising on your podcast, it's like selling out or it's bad or something.
Right. We've discussed this in the past. Yeah.
We have. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I just think I don't believe in that. I personally think that that's how you get paid for podcasting. It's a lot of work, and I think this is changing, right? The tide is changing.
Sphere,
listeners are understanding.
Yeah.
This is how their favorite creators get paid.
Yeah.
It's kind of a toxic idea that it's like you should do this show, you should do it for free, and on top of that, I should get it for free, and on top of all that, you also shouldn't do advertising, and you shouldn't get paid.
Right.
And advertising keeps it free. Otherwise, they got to charge because it's like people you can only do a podcast free for so long before you have to start.
Yeah, and I think it's time for us as creators to want to make money off of our creations instead of having like that poor artist mentality, broke artist mentality.
Yeah.
It's who wouldn't want to see their creation or their idea flourish and also make money off of it?
Yeah, and that being said, like, podcasting is like, it varies a huge spectrum from hobbyists to like Joe Rogan making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you do want to just do a free podcast that's like a casual thing that you're doing for your friends and you're not looking to make money, that's fine, and that counts. You're still a podcaster. No judgment. But if you want to, make it a career or just have make a little bit of, beer money back for your work, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with having ads, a couple ads in your show. Yeah. That's how creators get paid. So yeah.
Unpopular question, because me and my platform, we're a bit new to popping up at these events and stuff like that. We've had our own little siloed events that we'll put together and curate for other supporters within the community. But being at expos and stuff like this is new for us. But I gather that you guys are always making an appearance at these big things, whether it's year round or next year. I'm sure you're going to be at FanExpo and Comicon again.
So have us back. I'm sure we'll be here. Yeah.
Right. So unpopular question. Like, what's the worst part about this process for you guys and the network? Get whether it's like getting your guys' stuff together to prep for this, or the types of people you meet.
Yeah, no, I love
What's
everyone
the challenging
that we meet.
piece?
So, there's no issues there. But I think the challenging piece is, for me personally, is just how absolutely exhausting it is to organize everything, plan everything.
Yes.
Get everything here, have it go off without a hitch, and then I always go home. Which today's Sunday, last day, thank God.
Yes.
I go home. We load up the car with all our stuff. And
it's
then
like
I
mission
just wanna,
complete.
Yeah, I just want to sleep for like a whole week. That's how I feel when I leave here. So, yeah, it's just tiring, but in the end, it's worth it. We meet cool people. We spread the word. We share what we're doing with people, and that's what we're here for. So that's cool.
And what's your favorite part about it for you guys?
My favorite part is like, I have these moments every once in a while when I'm here. It happens. I'm just talking to people randomly as they're walking by. Usually my opening line will just be something like, hey, do you like podcasts, or do you listen to podcasts or whatever? And every once in a while you'll just get like a little glint in their eyes of like, I love podcasts. Yes. Or even better, like, oh yeah, I love podcasts. And I listen to a bunch of yours, and it's like, it makes me feel like, oh, okay, we're doing something.
Yes.
That, I know people listen. I can see the download numbers on a chart. Great, we love it.
Yes.
But when you see a person, you get that feedback from a person in front of you saying, oh, I love what you do, thank you for doing it.
Yes.
It's like, it really makes, I know it's corny, but it's like, that's the kind of thing that's like, oh, this makes it worthwhile.
Yes. I appreciate you sharing that piece, and again, thank you for having a conversation with me. Let the people know how they can get involved with Sonar, where they can find all the shows from Sonar, and just let them know how they can find you.
You can follow us at the Sonar Network and on all of the platforms, or at thesonarnetwork.com. That's like TheSonarNetwork.com. Or just and if you have an idea or you want to reach out or chat or anything, we're always here. We're here for the community. So.
That's so beautiful. Thank you again for speaking with me, Mike.
Of course.
Shout out to everyone who continues to support the movement, and that's what we're doing here. That's what FanExpo represents: building community, building bridges with one another, having conversations, whether it's about life, love, just perspectives, but also the things we love the most, like movies, comic books, TV shows, and of course, in our case, podcasts. So if you have an idea or a show and you're looking to pitch, look up the Sonar Network online, and you can get in touch with Mike directly and pitch your idea, man, and collaborate. Let's build this community while we still can.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for listening.
All right, we'll check in with you in a little bit, folks. One.
Bye.
All right. So to wrap up the event, ladies and gentlemen, I have someone very special standing next to me. One of the reasons, literally the main reason why we're here today as a platform. And if it wasn't for this individual, we probably wouldn't be at this event this year. In fact, this is literally the third time we're seeing each other for this so far for this year, which is a new record in itself. But you want to introduce yourself to the people, sir?
Hi, I'm John Lashinsky, and I run PodCamp Toronto and the Canadian Podcast Awards.
Yes, so shout out to the Canadian Podcast Awards, to you and Jennifer for having us, the Who and How Club, here today. I'd love to know, because this is our first FanExpo being here as a platform, how would you compare like this year's event versus other past events?
I'd say it's pretty on par with other FanExpos. It's a bit bigger than Toronto Comicon, which you were at last. So there's a lot more traffic through here. Last year they had to evacuate the building because there's too many people in here, and the fire marshal didn't like that.
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
So it's a big event, and there's a lot of things to see and do. They have it in two separate buildings. There's the north building and the south building. So yeah, it's a great event, and it's the big one for all of Canada.
So the last time we saw each other, which was at Comic-Con, we tried to conduct an interview and it didn't go according to plan. So there were some things that even after that conversation came to mind, and I wanted to ask you today, first things first, why do you think it's important for podcasts to even be at an event like this?
Well, I think it's important if podcasters, want to reach a new audience to be at events like this. So a lot of the podcasts that we have come in, have some sort of synergy with the type of audience that's here. So a lot of Dungeons and Dragons podcasts, role-playing podcasts, sci-fi podcasts. Dr. DC was here earlier today. So, those kind of podcasts really mix well with this audience. It's the type of people that they're looking for. But we also love to reach out to more general purpose podcasts, so they can reach out to this audience as well. Obviously, there's going to be some people that are into this as well. So we try and make sure it's open to everyone, and it's a great opportunity to just get the word out about your show.
I didn't see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen radio be present at these sorts of events. But there is a space to be held for podcasts, and I wonder, why is that? Someone even told me when I met them earlier, they're like, "Oh, that's weird. Podcasts are here." For some people, it seems like a mismatch. But where is that synergy coming from for you? Where do you feel like it is a perfect fit, aside from the shows that kind of run with the theme of the event?
Well, I guess I would say that, radio isn't a medium that has a lot of fans now. Maybe back when they were doing radio shows and radio plays, this would have been more of an appropriate venue for that, because they would have fans that would want to be meeting with them. That sort of has been taken over by podcasts, and just like film and television, you're going to have fans of those particular pieces of media, and this whole thing is about fans and fan experiences.
Yes. I agree. I mean, after being at Comic-Con and now the FanExpo, I feel like we're necessary here. We should be here. But from the average person who may not even know what a podcast is or don't listen to them, but have only heard about them through the ether, they're like, why are you guys here? And it's to come up with a response to them, it's I'm representing for our community. We're we belong here. We should be here. If they only knew. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to pick your brain on that, because some folks might look at it as a mismatch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a growing medium, and it's only going to gain more and more fans, and more people are going to be interested in it. So it's kind of a logical place to have us be here. And I think FanExpo recognizes that, and that's why they give us the space and the room to do live shows and have people do meet and greets down here on the show floor.
Quick question. With the amount of events that you folks have been sort of spearheading and being present and creating the platform for creators like myself to be present at, what are the biggest challenges that come with that? Because I know I see you and Jennifer, I hold you two dear in my heart, but sometimes I'll look at you and I'm like, oh, they got so much on their brains right now because of the organizing of this and stuff, right? What are some of the challenges that you could share with the people?
Challenges typically are, getting enough sleep, especially on the days that events happen. I had to be up at 5 o'clock this morning to shower and then go rent the car to be able to take all of this stuff home later tonight, which will probably end up being 11 o'clock at night before I get home, and then I have to go to work tomorrow. So time is a big thing, and money. All of this stuff costs us money, and we offer for no fee to other podcasters to use. So, printing out these pop-ups, setting up all the printed out material, renting vehicles to bring all the stuff to the event, and just our time as well. Like Jennifer spends a lot of time organizing all the different podcasters, making sure everyone can get on the schedule and making sure everyone has a time to be here at the booth and to possibly do a live show.
Just a couple more questions. I mean, in connection to that, have you guys thought about that? Like maybe charging creators like a set fee or like a subscription fee or something to be present at some of the events that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into to have us here, you know what I mean? Like how can we as creators that you provide a platform for give back, aside from our presence, you know?
I mean, you can always send us donations. We're always happy to have money. It helps greatly. But for events like this, I don't think we would want to, directly charge people to attend. First of all, I don't think FanExpo would like that very much. And for things like PodCamp, we want it to be open and accessible to everyone, not just people with money or large audiences. Small niche podcasts also need to be able to, get exposure and reach new audiences. So we're happy to do that for those people. But if anyone works for a corporation that is sponsoring events like this, or if they know someone who works for a business who wants to donate money or have a chat with us about what they can do to help the community, we're always happy to entertain those conversations and cash those checks. So yeah, if you know anyone or if you want to donate money to us, that helps a lot. But yeah, we like keeping it for free. There's things like the awards, which we may start charging for in the future, submission fees, but we also still want to keep that open to independent creators who aren't, pulling in money from their podcast. So we're trying to figure out the balance between, what to charge and like how much, I guess it would be a bursary or something, or like how we figure out how to let people who don't make money in for free, but still charge to people who do make money, and how to make that fair. So money's the biggest challenge.
You should do something like if your podcast has been running for more than a year, you're in for free. But if you've only been, or vice versa, if you're brand new, you get in for free. But folks who are kind of seasoned in the game, into this creative space, you should be donating a little something, especially if you've been with us for so long. Like I really feel honored whenever I get an email from your side knowing that like, oh, something is coming up and I'll get to see you guys again. I get excited and I do want to support. But for also other creators, I think that would be important for just what you represent and what you're doing for all of us. It's time for us to give back to you too, So creating a system, I think I would be on board for it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's something we're discussing. It does take a lot of our time and my personal money.
Yes.
So it's something we're looking at approaching in the future, whether we incorporate as a business or a not-for-profit or something like that. It's something we've been looking at doing for a little bit now, and it's something that's probably going to happen sooner than later.
John, just to wrap up, let the club members know like what's next for Canadian Podcast Awards, any upcoming events. I know the awards are supposed to be coming up soon, right?
Yeah, the awards will be coming up shortly, hopefully. Want to get that done before the year's over. And then after that would be maybe PodCamp Toronto, if we can get the space and funding to do that. Usually costs us, under $5,000 to host that whole event. So if we can get that money this year, it'll happen. If not, probably won't happen.
Well, we appreciate you regardless, and I know it will happen because what you two have created out of like the mud is amazing, and you two inspire me. So just thank you again for having the Who and How Club present, and I look forward to more, ways to collaborate and see you guys again.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you. One quick thing. For folks who want to start their own, platform, maybe they have an idea for an award show to acknowledge other creators, what kind of advice or positive messages would you leave for them?
Our advice usually with anything is just do it. No one, who are we to start an awards program for Canadian podcasts? I don't know, we just did it. We had a conference that dealt a lot with podcasts, and people were asking for an awards. We did one for Toronto one year, and then we were like, well, why don't we just do it for the whole country? You're your only gatekeeper, really.
Oh my God. I just said that to someone in the other room who was so fixated on gatekeepers and gatekeepers stopping his platform from excelling or succeeding, but I had to, and this gentleman he's very seasoned, but why is that the way you think? You are your own gatekeeper. You're the one that's in control. You don't need anybody else.
I mean, for this specifically, yeah, like no one stopped us, so we did it.
I'm with you. So, folks, if you've been following the show for however long, you know that PodCamp is our inception. Without PodCamp, we wouldn't have been able to start our platform. We went to PodCamp first to learn the ins and outs of podcasting. Before getting into the field, it's important for you to learn about it and embrace and just get ingrained into the community that you want to be a part of. And without PodCamp, we wouldn't be here today. And that's why we hold John and Jennifer so dear to us. And we're grateful. And look up Canadian Podcast Awards online and look out for those opportunities to have your show nominated or win an award coming up in the fall. Any last words, or you're good?
I'm good.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been FanExpo 2023, Canadian Podcast Awards. Shout out to them. Look them up. And you know the slogan, you are the Who and How Club. I am the Who and How Club, and we are the who's and how's of this world. Without you, without me, there is no we. So while we're here together, let's pick each other's brains, learn from one another, and create. So we'll check in a week. Love you. 1.